Welcome back to the deep dive.
Hey there.
So I want to start with this image that I just could not get out of my head while I was reading our source material this week.
Okay, lay it on me.
And I think every single person listening is going to relate to this, like immediately. Think about your phone.
Right.
You know when you have, I don't know, like 20 apps open in the background?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Maps, Spotify. Yeah.
Exactly. And your battery it just tanks, right? It doesn't even matter if you're not actively using them. Just the fact that they're open is draining the power.
That is a painfully good metaphor. And the phone gets hot, too. It's working overtime.
It is, and that's what we're talking about today, but, with people. That feeling of having 50 emotional tabs open all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You walk into a room, the vibe is off, and suddenly you're processing that. You get an email from a difficult coworker, and even if you don't reply, you're sort of managing it in your head. It's this constant leak.
It is. And our source for today actually calls this the modern condition of accessibility. We've basically normalized this idea that to be a good person or, a team player, you have to be like an open Wi-Fi network.
An open Wi-Fi network, no password.
No password. Anyone can connect anytime and just start downloading your bandwidth.
I feel so called out already. But okay, we're going to fix that. We're diving deep into a guide called The Sovereign Soul, a guide to guarding your power.
Right.
Now, I have to admit, when I first saw that title, my guard went up a little bit. Sovereign Soul sounds a bit abstract, maybe.
A little poetic, yeah.
I was genuinely expecting a guide on how to build a fortress and dig a moat and just hide from everyone.
And that's the common misconception about protection, right? We think it means isolation.
Yeah.
That if I'm protecting my energy, I have to be cold, I have to shut people out.
Yeah.
But what this text does, and why I think it's so important right now, is it completely reframes that. It argues that true protection isn't about fear, it's about clarity.
Discernment over depletion. That was the phrase that really stuck
But
with me. It's not about saying no to everything. It's about knowing what is actually yours to say yes to in the first place.
Precisely. So the mission of our deep dive today is to really help you distinguish what energy is yours to carry and, what isn't. We're going to break down how we leak power and then get into the actual strategies for stopping it.
And these go way beyond just turn off your phone notifications.
Oh, way beyond. Because that doesn't stop the guilt, which is where the real drain happens.
So true. Okay, let's start with that core definition. The text contrasts building walls with alignment. Why is that distinction so important? Because wall sounds pretty effective to me.
Well, think about what a wall requires. It takes energy to build, right?
Yeah.
And constant maintenance. If you're always holding up a shield, your arm is going to get tired. That's defensive living.
You're always scanning for threats.
Always. Alignment, on the other hand, is structural. If you're aligned, you don't have to push against the world. You just need to stand firm in your own reality.
So defense is this active, draining thing, whereas alignment is just being.
Exactly. Defense is exhausting. Alignment is sustainable. And the source makes a really critical point here. Protection is not punishment.
Right.
You're not setting a boundary to punish someone. You're doing it to preserve your ability to even function. If you're drained, you're no good to anyone.
Okay, so let's get into the leaks. Where are we hemorrhaging all this power? The text points to a few things. The big one is obvious, boundaries being ignored. But there were two others that felt so much more subtle. Unreciprocated emotional labor and expectations replacing consent.
Let's start with expectations replacing consent, because that is a trap almost everyone falls into.
Oh, yeah.
It happens when you have a pattern. Let's say you always answer your sister's 10 p.m. calls to vent about her job. You've always done it, so she expects it.
And because she expects it, she feels entitled to it. And I probably feel obligated to do it.
Right. But here's the thing. You never actually consented to be her forever late-night therapist. You didn't sign a contract. You just never said stop.
I just didn't say stop. Wow, that hits hard.
The source argues that silence isn't consent here. It's just a lack of boundaries. And so when expectation takes over, you feel used, and they feel confused when you finally snap.
Because in their head, this was the deal. But you've always done this.
So in a way, we've trained people to drain us. We've taught them that our energy is a public resource.
Which leads right into the first big strategy for retraining them and ourselves. The "is this mine" test.
This is the foundation. It is all about discernment. Before you jump in, before you fix it, before you reply to that crisis text, you stop and you ask, is this mine to hold?
And the source gives this, incredibly liberating list of things that are explicitly not yours.
Yeah, that list is powerful.
I want to go through a couple of them because they really push against our social conditioning, like this one. You are not responsible for fixing people.
That's a really hard one for the helpers out there.
Totally. I feel like my whole identity is wrapped up in being a fixer sometimes.
But the text kind of flips that, doesn't it? It suggests that there's a bit of ego in that fixing impulse.
Yeah, that stung a little bit. The idea that my helping might actually be about me needing to feel useful.
It suggests that when you rush in to fix someone's problem, you're basically saying, I don't trust you to handle your own life. You're robbing them of their own growth.
We think we're being heroes, but we might actually be interfering.
Exactly.
Okay, the other one on the list that I really struggle with. You are not responsible for managing others' reactions to your boundaries.
This is where 90% of boundary attempts fail.
For sure.
We set the boundary, I can't come to the party, and then the other person gets disappointed, they sigh, they get passive-aggressive.
And immediately we panic. We think, oh no, I hurt them. I have to fix it.
So we backtrack, well, maybe I can come for 10 minutes, or I'm so sorry, I'm the worst.
And boom, the boundary is gone.
And you've just taught them that a negative reaction makes you fold. The source is so clear. You deliver the boundary with respect. How it lands for them, that's theirs to process.
So if you ask, is this mine? And the answer is no. The instruction is just to release it, which sounds nice, but how? My brain likes to chew on things.
It's a mental exercise, really. You can literally visualize yourself dropping a heavy suitcase. You can acknowledge their struggle. I see you're having a hard time, but you refuse to pick up the luggage.
It's separating empathy from responsibility.
Yeah, that's it.
I can feel for you, I can care about you, but I don't have to carry this for you.
You can walk beside them without carrying their backpack.
Okay, so let's get into the mechanics. This brings us to boundaries. But the source defines them in a way I'd never heard before. It calls them energetic agreements, not negotiations.
I love this distinction. A negotiation implies a compromise, right? I'm waiting for your counteroffer. I can't do Friday. Well, how about Saturday?
You're signaling that your no is just a starting offer.
Yes, an energetic agreement is a statement of reality. It's like gravity. Gravity doesn't negotiate. It just is.
You don't get mad at gravity, you just accept it.
You accept it. When you state a boundary as a reality, I am not available this weekend, you are not asking for permission. You're just informing them of the facts.
That feels terrifying, though. We're taught to be accommodating.
Oh, for sure. But the text says that discomfort you feel, it calls them growth pains. It means you're doing it right, not wrong.
We want the other person to sign off on our boundary, to say, wow, good for you. I totally respect that.
And when they don't, when they say, you're being selfish, we crumble.
Right.
But a boundary doesn't require their permission to be valid. It only requires your adherence to it.
This brings us to the trap of over-explaining. This section felt like it was written just for me. I am the king of the soft no.
The long, rambling excuse.
Totally. I'd love to, but my car's making this weird noise and I have a deadline, and my cat looked at me funny.
And the source says that is actually dangerous because you are giving them unnecessary access to your inner world. You're handing them a problem to solve.
Oh, your car is broken. I can pick you up. And now I'm cornered.
Exactly. Now you have no excuse left except the truth, which is you just didn't want to go. Over-explaining is an insecurity response. It's us trying to justify our no.
So the scripts, the source suggests we just strip it all back.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel so stark at first. Like the first one. That doesn't work for me.
Simple, complete, no wiggle room.
Or I'm not available for that.
Notice the lack of a because. It's not I'm not available because. It's just a statement.
And the hardest one, I think. I've made my decision.
It sounds cold if you're used to the fluff. But think about how it feels when someone says that to you. Kindly but firmly. It doesn't sound mean. It sounds grounded.
It sounds like they know who they are.
And it saves everyone's energy. You're doing them a kindness by being so clear.
Okay, I want to pivot to the part of the text that really surprised me. It moves away from these verbal scripts and talks about the body, somatic awareness.
Because our minds are excellent liars. Our minds are socialized. They can rationalize anything. Oh, I should go to that party. I should help this person.
But your body doesn't lie.
Your body is a radar system. It picks up on these energy drains way before your conscious mind will admit to them.
So what are the signals we should be looking for?
The source lists a few. That bone-deep tired that hits you right after a specific conversation, that's a system crash.
I know that feeling.
Or tension. Notice where your shoulders go when a certain person's name pops up on your phone.
Straight up to my ears. Instant armor.
That's your body preparing for a fight. That's a data point.
Mm,
The text also mentions a loss of creativity, which I find fascinating.
perhaps so.
When you're leaking power everywhere, the first thing to go is your generative energy. You stop having new ideas because all your energy is going toward survival mode.
That's the open tabs thing again. There's not enough RAM left to run the creativity program.
Exactly. So the source suggests rituals. And look, I know some listeners might roll their eyes at cleansing with smoke or visualizing light.
Yeah, let's ground this. Why does holding a rock help me say no to my coworker?
It's a pattern interrupt, a signal to your subconscious. Our work life, home life, social life, it all bleeds together on the same screen now. A ritual, whether it's just lighting a candle or taking 3 deep breaths, is a state change. It tells your brain the shop is now closed.
It's like putting on a uniform.
It is. It creates a psychological container. You're doing it for your nervous system.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, so what about the people we do want to let in? This isn't about becoming a hermit. The source talks about being selective with vulnerability.
Which pushes back on a lot of modern advice, right? We're always told, be vulnerable, be an open book.
But this source says, hang on a second.
Well, it argues that indiscriminate vulnerability, just spilling your guts to everyone, isn't strength, it's another leak.
Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. That's the quote.
Right. And the test question it gives you is, has this person shown consistency, respect, and care? If the answer is no, then sharing your deepest fears with them isn't intimate, it's just unsafe.
And then when they mishandle that information, we feel betrayed. But the source implies that we actually betrayed ourselves first.
That is a hard pill to swallow. We gave a precious thing to someone with clumsy hands because we were looking for validation where it couldn't be found.
And that need for validation is what the text calls a massive power drain. I realized how much energy I spend mentally rehearsing arguments just to convince people my choices are valid.
We want the committee to vote yes on our lives. But the source is blunt. You are allowed to be misunderstood.
Can we just pause on that for a second? You are allowed to be misunderstood. That feels so radical.
It is. But think of the energy you save if you just resign as the PR manager for your own life. You don't need to issue a press release for why you quit that job. You just do it.
So what happens when a relationship is still a drain? Even after all this, you've set the boundaries, you've stopped over-explaining.
Then you have to look at the final strategy, walking away, the guilt-free exit.
And the source suggests ways that aren't about some big dramatic showdown. It talks about distancing without drama.
The slow fade, which people feel so guilty about.
I always feel like it's the cowardly way out.
But we feel like we owe everyone a closure conversation. And how often do those actually provide closure? Usually they just reopen the wound.
And give them another chance to talk you out of it.
Exactly. Sometimes choosing silence over more explanation is the kindest thing you can do for your own energy. You're not attacking them, you're just ceasing to water a dead plant.
So let's talk about the payoff.
Yeah.
Because this is hard work. Why do it? The source lists the signs your protection is working.
And the list is really compelling. Increased calm, obviously, but clearer thinking is the one I see most often. Your own cognitive fog lifts.
Stronger intuition was on there too.
Because the signal-to-noise ratio improves, you can finally hear yourself over the static of everyone else's needs.
And reduced resentment. That is the big one for me. When I'm overgiving, I'm secretly hating the person I'm helping.
Which poisons the relationship anyway. That's the irony. By not setting boundaries, we destroy the very relationship we think we're saving.
So protection actually lets you love people better because you're engaging with them from a full cup.
Exactly. You have something real to give.
The source ends with this sentiment that I think just sums it all up perfectly. You are not here to be drained. You are here to exist in alignment.
And the final thought it leaves you with is, your power deserves protection. Not because the world is dangerous, but because you are worthy of peace.
That shift from fear of the world to worthiness of peace, that's everything. It makes it an act of self-love, not an act of war.
It is. And I would just leave you with the question the source poses at the very end. It's a challenge. If you actually reclaimed all that bandwidth that's currently leaking out, what could you create with it?
That's the real question. It's not just about having more energy for a nap. It's about what projects, what joy, what connections are waiting in that reclaimed space.
Exactly. Protection is the prerequisite for creation. You have to clear the lot before you can build.
Well, I'm going to go practice my I've made my decision face in the mirror. Might take a few tries to get the guilt out of my eyes.
It's a muscle. Start small. Don't start with your mother.
Good advice. Thanks for diving in with us. Take care of your power, everyone.
See you